So this is a video I've been very excited to make for quite some time now. This is my idea for what a 36-team NBA would look like. If you're a fan of basketball, keep watching because I think you'll find this interesting. And now, unlike in my NHL expansion video where I said that it's somewhat unrealistic that the NHL will ever get to 40 teams, I do think that 36 teams is a very realistic number for the NBA. I think that it's a big enough number that a lot of cities that want teams will be able to get them, but I also think that it's not too big of a number that it will water down the talent in the league. Plus, it also happens that 36 is a perfect square, so that's always a plus. Now, without further ado, let's go on to what I would change about the current NBA. So this is what the NBA currently looks like. There's 15 teams in the Western Conference and 15 teams in the Eastern Conference. Like my NHL expansion video, I'm not going to be relocating any of the teams from where they play. However, I am going to make one small change to the conferences. So all I did was I moved the Memphis Grizzlies from the Western Conference to the Eastern Conference. Now we have 16 teams in the East and 14 teams in the West, as was the case in the NHL for a number of years. This move is necessary to balance out the expansion cities that I have in mind, and with no further delay, here they are. Unlike in my NHL expansion video, this time I'm going to be working my way from east to west, starting with Montreal. Montreal might not be the first place that comes to mind when you think about basketball, but in my opinion, it's overlooked when we're talking about expansion in the NBA. Sure, Quebec isn't a traditional basketball market, but that doesn't change the fact that Montreal is a very big city. There are loads of potential fans who would support a basketball team in Montreal. This is evidenced by CF Montreal, who, despite being a relatively new team, draws very good crowds. They have also built a very strong following in Montreal. Not to mention, there's also the Bell Centre. Despite being hailed as a cathedral for hockey, it could also work very well as a basketball arena. In fact, if it were to be used in the NBA, it would be the largest NBA stadium by seating capacity. And above all else, if Montreal was to get an NBA team, they would be able to form a natural rivalry with the Toronto Raptors. Now tell me that wouldn't be fun to watch. Next up is the Steel City. I always found it odd that Philadelphia has a basketball team but Pittsburgh doesn't. Yes, I am aware that Pittsburgh is a lot smaller than Philadelphia, but that doesn't mean that the fans there are any less passionate. Keep in mind, Salt Lake City has a basketball team, and they only have a metropolitan population of about 1 million people. Pittsburgh is home to the Steelers, who have some of the most devoted fans in all of football. Yes, I am aware that football fans and basketball fans don't necessarily overlap, but keep in mind there are probably a lot of potential fans in Western Pennsylvania who wouldn't necessarily want to cheer for the 76ers. PPG Paints Arena would provide a great home for a potential NBA team. Now, I am aware that the city of Pittsburgh has a slightly shrinking population, but the metropolitan population seems to be holding steady. It just feels natural for Pittsburgh to get a basketball team to contrast Philadelphia. Plus, I bet a lot of potential free agents would prefer playing in Pittsburgh over Philadelphia because the fan base in Pittsburgh, I imagine, would be a lot less harsh.
Burn that Burn that
See, wouldn't Pittsburgh be such a great alternative over this? Next is Kansas City. I also mentioned Kansas City on my NHL expansion video. Kansas City is pretty big, so they'd obviously have no trouble attracting fans. There aren't really any basketball teams near Kansas City, so that entire region could pull for a Kansas City team. There have been attempts to get an NBA team into Missouri for quite some time now. The Vancouver Grizzlies almost relocated to St. Louis. Kansas City has an outstanding potential arena in the T-Mobile Center. This arena is no stranger to basketball. It's hosted numerous NCAA basketball tournaments in the past. It would be a perfect venue for a potential NBA team. And like I said in my NHL expansion video, a perfect venue for an NHL team as well. Kansas City is continuing to grow at a steady rate, and I definitely think that the NBA should look into putting a team here. Next up is Las Vegas. Las Vegas is relatively new to the professional sports scene, but so far, pro sports in Las Vegas, at least in the modern era, have been a huge success. Before they joined the NHL, everyone said that the Vegas Golden Knights would be a huge failure, but as it turns out, they've spawned one of the most passionate fan bases in the NHL, and the atmosphere at their games is electric. Also, Raider Nation has definitely been making their presence known in Las Vegas. The brand new Allegiant Stadium has been attracting great crowds for Raiders games. Las Vegas's population has exploded in recent decades, so it's not hard to imagine that there would be a ton of potential basketball fans in the city. It's easy to be optimistic about Las Vegas's chances of getting more sports teams, and I definitely think that a lot of people would like it if there was a second team in T-Mobile Arena. And let's not forget, Las Vegas already has a WNBA team, so it's not too far-fetched to assume that an NBA team will soon follow. Okay, so this one needs no explanation. I'm pretty sure most of you watching this remember when the Seattle Supersonics used to exist. Despite the fact that they always had a very strong following, unfortunately they had to relocate to Oklahoma City because they couldn't negotiate the construction of a new arena to play in. Fortunately, that situation has been solved because their old home, the Key Arena, has been remodeled and turned into Climate Pledge Arena, which is currently the home of the Seattle Kraken, currently the NHL's newest team. It turns out that the creation of the Kraken was a blessing in disguise for the hopes of Seattle getting a basketball team back. Well, a men's basketball team. They already have a WNBA team. With the popularity that the Kraken have so far, there isn't a doubt in my mind that it's gonna inspire people who want an NBA team back to make their voices heard. But yeah, Seattle's a very big city, the fan support's definitely there, and they need their NBA team back. Enough said. Last but not least is Vancouver. Now look, it's no secret that the Grizzlies had awful attendance during their time in Vancouver, but I mean you can't really blame anyone for not wanting to go, the team was horrendous. Today, I think Vancouver fans have been gifted with the benefit of hindsight. These days, I'm seeing more and more people feeling nostalgic about the Grizzlies, and I mean, how can you not feel nostalgic about them with jerseys like these? I mean, just look at that beautiful shade of turquoise, and that logo is a work of art. And you know, it wouldn't surprise me if Toronto Raptors envy has fueled this desire to bring a basketball team back to Vancouver. I've talked to some people who lived in Vancouver and the surrounding area during the time that the Vancouver Grizzlies existed, and a lot of them say that they regret not going to games. Since 2001, basketball has hugely grown in popularity here in Canada. And I definitely think it's time we see some more Canadian teams in the NBA. If Canada can have 3 MLS teams, why not 3 NBA teams? Besides, it's no fun when the whole country's cheering for the Raptors. So those are my ideas for the 6 expansion cities, and here you can see where they are on a map. And as you can see, with the addition of 6 new teams, we get 18 teams in each conference for a total of 36 teams. And like I mentioned earlier, 36 is a perfect square, which means we can make 6 divisions of 6 teams each. And that is my proposal for a 36-team National Basketball Association. Do you agree with my additions? If not, tell me what you would change in the comments below. And hey, since I'm not making many videos these days, if you want to engage with me further, feel free to join my Discord server. It's been pretty inactive lately and I want to sort of bring it back to life. I'll leave the link to that in the description. With that, I'm going to end this video here. As always, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.